Good morning and a warm welcome also from my side to this stakeholder presentation of the key results for our Wadden Sea World Heritage brand audit. My name is Böhling from Inspektour. I'm managing partner and contact person for the area of market research projects in our company and also for our study series Destination Brand. I conducted this project with my dear colleague Juliane Reich. I think a few of you already know her. She has also been in Sylt to work with you in a workshop during this meeting. And before we start with the presentation, of course, I also would like to invite you to ask your questions. You can write it down, the questions in the chat box on your screen at any time. And if you have some urgent questions, of course, feel free to ask them directly. But we also have this Q&A session at the end of the event, and then we will get through as many questions as the time allows. Okay, so let's start. What can you expect from today's presentation? I give you a brief introduction to this project, to the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand audit. We'll show you some key results and statements of the survey. And we sum up with a conclusion, and we'll also talk about the recommendations. Good. Just a brief introduction. What was the objective of this project? It was to conduct the first brand audit of the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand, to get to know and to review and assess precisely its activation. So therefore, we developed a questionnaire in English for key stakeholders and SMEs. And as well, we conducted a brand and marketing analysis beside the survey to get some further deep information on how the material, the media, and the communication is included in own branding and marketing activities of the stakeholders and SMEs. So based on the results from this questionnaire, which I'm going to show you the results just in a bit, and also based on the brand analysis, we wrote a report, a detailed report, which is in the hands of Anja and as well Annika. So there are more detailed information and results additionally to today's presentation. And also we have included recommendations for action and measures for the development, as well as an overall conclusion. Yeah, it was, as I mentioned, it is a quantitative online survey, which we developed for stakeholders, and we targeted, or who was interviewed, was stakeholders in Denmark, Germany, and in the Netherlands, 39 in total. So from this 39 stakeholders, 22 came from Germany, we had 16 from the Netherlands, and 1 from Denmark. We have a great base for this first measurement of the brand of the World Heritage, Wadden Sea World Heritage. So let's get started with the key results and have a look at the results. The questionnaire started with this first question in the survey, which was an open question to get to know, and without any other questions or introduction, in your opinion, what does the brand Wadden Sea World Heritage stand for? So as I said, as an open question, there were no answers from our side. So each of you or the stakeholders could answer what they have in mind when they think about the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand. Yeah. We had a lot of mentions, which we have clustered, cleared, and analyzed, and then categorized in this table. In the blue box on the left side, the question is always listed. Yeah. In the top on the right, marked here in red, the associated survey effects are included. And here in this space, the spontaneous association and mentions will be shown just in a bit in a ranking. And here on the right, in this further 3 columns, the results values will be entered just a bit, so that you know how many respondents made this mention, what percentage of the answers this represents, and how many mentioned this is in real terms. Yeah. So here are the results. The first top 10, top 9 mentioned. The most mentions came on the topics 1 to 3 on protection, preservation of nature, the exceptional, unbelievable, unspoiled, world-class nature, and the uniqueness and outstanding. So mentions were made when the stakeholders think of the brand Wadden Sea World Heritage. These are the top mentions regarding the brand. Yeah. I'll superimpose the values from the other 2 columns, so you can see on the far right how many mentions were made for each association. And of course, just keep in mind, multiple answers, of course, are possible. Yeah, so so each respondent of the 39 persons could make 1 association or could give 1 answer, or as many as they had. Yeah. So the most mentions were on protection, 22 in total, 18 on the nature, and then 12 in total on the uniqueness and outstanding. So, and then we have some further mentions on diversity, education, learnings, networking, the North or Wadden Sea life in general, holiday expedition worth visiting, the value, the important great value, or the awareness and the appreciation. Yeah. That is the first overview. I'm going to switch to the second part of the table just in a bit, but to sum up, the most mentions were made regarding the first top 3 associations regarding the protection, nature, and the uniqueness. Let's have a look at the second page of the overall ranking. A few mentions were made of the association shown here, not that much as you have seen in on the first page. And in the last line, just to give you an orientation, you will find the 5 mentions that we could not assign to any other mention and were therefore bundled together under other individual mentions. Yeah, so as you can see, there were some few mentions regarding the dynamic phase of the Wadden Sea, sustainability, the beautiness, fragility, urgency, with the quality, but also 2 mentions regarding the UNESCO. Yeah, that is a first overall result. We stay with the spontaneous association and the results, which I've shown you here, and compare the results from all respondents. You can see the values in the column in the middle, broken down by country, the origin of the respondents. And therefore, I have a note, only one, as I mentioned, only 1 person from Denmark took part in the survey. So this means that the number of cases, of course, for Denmark, are too small, so that region-related evaluation for Denmark was not possible. And we show you the results from the respondents from the Netherlands and Germany here in the table. And here you can see, the results divided, so to say, between Germany and the Netherlands. And we have a look at the results, and you can see 80% of the respondents from the Netherlands gave an association to top 1, twice as many as from Germany. Yeah. In addition, 63% of the respondents gave an association to top 2, also significantly more than from Germany. But on the other hand, 40% from Germany said or mentioned the uniqueness and the outstanding compared to Netherlands, where only 30% of the respondents mentioned this point. Yeah, so protection, nature. These mentions came more from the Netherlands, and uniqueness and understanding was mentioned more significantly in Germany. However, we see here also with other topics that there are regional differences in the perception as well. No, when you see or when you have a look at the other results on the other association categories. We switch also, of course, to the second page. To sum up the information. Here you can see, of course, some differences as well, but also keep in mind from the first overview the number of mentions, which was very low here in this part as well, to be around between 2 or 5 mentions. Yeah, and additionally to this segmentation, we compared also all the results from all respondents in the middle of the middle column with the company or institution categories to which the respondents belongs. And we had in this 39 persons in total, 7 came from national parks, 8 from DMOs or TMOs, 10 from NGOs, and we had 6 from SME. And other 6 without mentioning their category. So we have beside the segmentation based on the countries or the origin from the respondents, we can also make a differentiation between this company or institution categories to see if there are different, a different focus or a different awareness of the brand in the different categories. So here, for example, first of all, you of course see in the results a lot of numbers, and of course let your gaze glide over the table, and you will of course also notice here that there are differences in the perception. For example, in the category SME, here there's a higher perception for top 2 and also for top 4, education and learnings. More about the Wadden Sea and providing relevant information compared to the other categories, and also compared to all respondents. There you can see significantly high differences. But of course, in other categories or in other categories, the perception or the highness of mentions regarding different association is lower or higher compared to the other categories. And we switch to the second page. And of course, for the sake of completeness, I will also show you here the second page with the result of the ranking, and keeping in mind that the number of answers were significantly lower than on the first page. You can see, of course, here some slight differences between the awareness and the number of mentions or associations with the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand as well. This was the first question, this open question, to get an idea how the perception of the brand is in general and what the stakeholders, the respondents, connect or have in mind when they think about the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand. We then had further questions regarding the brand appearance, and here first of all regarding the benefits statements. So we had a further question which is shown here on the screen. Below you will find various statements on the brand appearance of the Wadden Sea World Heritage. With the term brand appearance, we explained what we mean. Please indicate to what extent you agree with the following statements. So we have on the top on the left, the question is shown again in the blue blocks. On the right, the survey facts. And then we have a different visualization. On the left side, you see the 4 statements from top to bottom. Then you see a column with the top 2 box. As it was a scaled question, so the respondent could indicate from 1 I fully disagree. To 5, I fully agree how the level of agreement is. And so therefore in the middle, the results on the whole scale will be shown just in a bit. And then on the far right, there's a column where you get the average value additionally. So I'm going to show you the first result regarding the brand appearance, that the brand appearance underlines the global uniqueness of this natural landscapes. And here 85 of the respondents answered that they agree or fully agree with this statement regarding the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand. I am showing you fading in the results for the statements 2 to 4. And as you can see, for the statement 2, raises awareness for nature conservation at the Wadden Sea as well also, but with a slight difference. Statement 3 communicates important concepts of nature conservation. The respondents agree or fully agree between almost 70 and more than 80%. Statement 4 does not achieve as high approval ratings as the previous 3, but 2/3 of the respondents also said or agree that the brand reflects a transnational cooperation between Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands as well. Yeah. We then continued evaluating the brand appearance regarding conveyed characteristics. We had this question in the questionnaire as well. A brand appearance, a brand name or trademark can be used to communicate very specific attributes and characteristics of destinations. To what extent do you agree that the brand appearance of the Wadden Sea World Heritage conveys the following characteristics? So it's the same visualization as before. On the left side, you can see the defined list of attributes and values and subjects which we asked to indicate how much the respondents associate each attribute with the brand. And yeah, the way of presentation is the same as in the previous chapter. You will now in a bit see the complete results on the whole scale. You also have the top 2 box in the middle, and in the far right, the mean again. So let's have a look at the results. From top to bottom, the highest level of agreement is achieved for the characteristic unique in the world with over 80%. So over 80% of the respondents agree or fully agreed that the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand reflects uniqueness in the world. Irreplaceable, 74%, and then fascinating with 72%. Also, the attributes or characteristic, authentic, dynamic, and fragile, well protected. 2/3 of the respondents as well responded that they agree or fully agree with this attribute as well, and that they connect this values, that's characteristic, with the brand. Beneficial to health receives the lowest level of the approval among the properties acquired, yeah, in this list of the defined attributes, but also achieved more than 30% of agreement. So you can see as well, because the whole scale is visualized here, you can see also the difference between the results in the scales. For example, for the top agreement, unique in the world, you can see that 56% fully agree with the statement. Yeah. 38% agreed fully with irreplaceable or fascinating. And so you can see which is a characteristic, an attribute, and which dominates in the mind, in the head of the respondents, connecting attributes and values with the brand. Yeah. But you can also see, of course, the agreement. Also can see by marked in colors, of course, where the respondents less agree or fully disagree, of course, as well. So you have both sides of the results summarized here in the overview with the attributes and the values. We continue because we also ask questions regarding the provided content and tools. So we had this question: various materials for online and offline users are available for the Wadden Sea World Heritage. For among others in this brand toolbox brand space, which you all know, as well as its social media channels. Which of the following contents tools on the Wadden Sea World Heritage do you know, and how often do you use them? So we wanted to know if this material, the tools, the instruments are integrated in the communication activities or marketing activities of the stakeholders in the different countries. Same visualization as before. On the left, you can see which instruments or which tools were in the pool and were evaluated. Again, scaled on a scale from 1 not at all to 5 very often. So you can see now how often this, for example, logo, original brochures, or web banners or magazines are used for the own communication by the stakeholders in the 3 countries. So let's have a look. The most frequently used tool is the logo, which 2/3 of the stakeholders use in or for your communication, followed by regional brochures or general brochures in general. And then, of course, you see a gap in the values. Then with less confirmation or the less often, posters, texts, or photos were used. And then with another gap or jump, we have the videos, the web banners, the magazine, and then with only 5% advertisements which were provided were used for the own communications. So this is an overview of the online or offline tools which are provided, and you can see that, of course, or not of course, but you can see here from the result that the logo is the most used media, most used instrument from the stakeholders, and is integrated in the communication of their companies more frequently. We switch to the social media channels and have a look at the results. We integrated in the list of evaluation the Instagram presence, the Facebook page, YouTube channel, and the Twitter account, and asked, of course, on a scale from 1 to 5, how often the stakeholders use the instrument provided, and how often they integrate the use in their own communication or marketing activities. You can see that generally lower values in use. We can see lower values in use than the previous instruments. However, Instagram is most often used for communication purposes in general. Yeah, and beside this results, or beside this questions, we of course additionally had further questions regarding the provided contents and tools. We asked for reason for infrequent use, because as you have seen here, we evaluated the level of use or useness by the stakeholders of the media, of the tools on and offline, but we also, of course, ask for the reasons for infrequent use. And based on that, on supporting aspects, what additional support would they like to receive in order to increase the use of the available contents and tools of the Wadden Sea World Heritage? We also ask questions regarding the purposes of use. What additionally purposes of use would be mentioned, and we ask for general suggestions for the improvement to get more ideas, more information, how or what other instruments or aspects or tools could be provided to increase to increase the use of the material of the media which already is provided. In our mentioned report, in the detailed report, we have the additional information of the results prepared the same way you have seen here in the presentation of today. So there you get further information on the results on this mentioned question. We also evaluated or conduct a brand and marketing analysis to analyze the performance of the overall effectiveness of the brand in print media, online advertisement, and social media. So the results are as well included in the report, and we compared the brand results with two comparable strong brands, with the Wadden Sea National Park and Denmark National Park, which were chosen for the comparison. So there you have another overview of a benchmarking as well, a comparable information, and use how other partners use exactly the tools and the media and conduct their marketing based on the brand performance. So before I sum up, I have give you the information what further information we provided or conducted or gained for you in the questionnaire. We had this first or overall objective, which I had mentioned in the beginning. So it was a first zero measurement to find out the status quo of the brand performance and the brand activation. And in order to this, you have now the option based on the questionnaire and of course based on the report structure to build up time series and derive developments on the questions in future surveys. Of course, additional question on current topic can be added at the questionnaire as well at any time when you reconduct the survey in the future. The most important result is, or the answer to the central question, if the brand raises awareness, and this especially for nature conservation of the Wadden Sea, and communicates important contents of nature conservation, is yes, definitely. Yeah, you can see the results, you have seen the results in the first part, and this conclusion also will be underlined by the results of the further question, which I have mentioned, which are in the report as well. And additionally, it was confirmed by the brand analysis, the survey, and as well this desk research which we have done as well. So the brand design and the multitude of the communication materials are not only uniform and professionally designed, but the topics of conservation, sustainability, and the environmentally and education are in the focus and are communicated exactly, or will be, or dominate in the mind of the stakeholders as well. So as one recommendation From our point of view, it would be interesting to find out whether this also corresponds to the perception of the visitors. And as we know that the NIT does the visitor survey for you, so maybe it would be also important or interesting to compare the results from the NIT survey with these results to see if the visitors also have the same impression as the stakeholders as well. We then, based on this first conclusion and recommendation, took a step further. You had your PROWAD Link 9th, I think, partner meeting in Sylt in the beginning of November. And during this event, my colleague Juliane developed recommendations for action and measures with the participants, which I like to present to you now. We have divided the recommendations as well the conclusions in the report a bit in two levels, the strategic level and the operational level. The main recommendation based on the report and the results are shown here. The need for more information on where to find the online toolbox and about its content, especially they suggested workshops and trainings. In addition, this hands-on workshops were recommended as well, that they are more practice-oriented and help stakeholders to integrate the materials into their own communication media. Initiate stronger cooperation with local partners was another recommendation. Make use of dual brands with regional partners and to integrate more multipliers. And the survey revealed that almost 60% of respondents believe that the brand reflects the transnational cooperation. There should be desire to strengthen and promote this, and an option could be to integrate the logo more strongly into the online and the offline media. And so these were the suggestions or the recommendations on the operational level, and the status quo is that all these recommendations, or for this recommendation, there are already actions in progress. So for the first recommendation, already trainings, information, and further videos were developed to help to support the stakeholders to integrate the information and get the information from the toolbox. Also in progress, the stronger cooperation with local partners based on the partnership hub, and then strengthen and promote transnational cooperation in progress, further promotion of the cooperation. So that is perfect, and that is a great further step. And then we have a closer look additionally, or we had a closer look at the strategic level, where more brand communication and marketing was the recommendation or were the measurements. And as PROWAD Link project ends in 2022, by the end of this year, of course, there are the question what happened then regarding the task responsibility and also the resources for further communication, positioning, and of course the management of the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand. So we focus on the results of the workshop of this part, and Juliane asked this question in the workshop in order to find questions for this question, and to work out initial approaches with the participants and in Sylt. So on the top left question, what questions need to be answered? How can take on which task in the future, or who can take on which task in the future? Then the ideas, what ideas do you have for a successful continuation, creation of an organizational chart, for example, that everybody knows how and where to work on. Obstacles, what obstacles can there be on the way? time missing, workload of each person in each company, of course, and then the resources. So what resources are needed for the continuation? Manpower, but also, of course, financial resources. And there were a lot of first questions, which I'm going to show you afterwards. I'm going to show you, of course, also the developments in the area of the ideas, the obstacles, and then, of course, the resources. So you have a quick overview on what were the questions which have to be solved in the future, or have to be in mind for future progress and future management. Who's needed on which level? How can we keep up the credibility, quality, and the content of the brand? If there need to change the perspective, were also a question: where is the engine and where are the wheels to get PS on the street with the brand? Does a destination brand actually exist? And when are we talking about the destination brand, and when about a company's brand? So there are a lot of basic questions where in the future process, of course, in workshops or in your working groups, of course, can we find the answer, and then, of course, continue with the positioning and the marketing, the branding of the Wadden Sea World Heritage. First ideas were looking at existing programs or existing structures and capacity within the Wadden Sea World Heritage. Benchmark, look how others do the work, how organizational structure they have, how they manage financial resources, manpower as well. That could be an idea to exchange information with partners or other companies, institutions in the same category. Elaborates value of the co-brands, find out different ways of using, communicating, and organizing the brand. There were the idea to develop a framework and the cooperative and also cooperation framework, so everybody has an orientation how to work, on what to work, and using existing projects to strengthen the communication of the brand as well. When we switch to the second part, obstacles, many other strong brands exist. Maybe they are not committed enough to the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand. Co-branding, ensure that both brands are equally strong communicated if you use two brands. And the brand is not only tourism branding, exactly. And as you have seen from the result, the connecting with nature, uniqueness, and preservation is very high. And a competition between brands could come up as well. So these were the obstacles results from the workshop with Juliane in Sylt. And resources, of course, you have to keep an eye on the financial resources, human resources, workload. Everybody has their daily work. And of course, there have to be time, of course, to do the work on the positioning and the branding of the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand as well. Focal points and their future role should be defined and included, and the tourism task group for initiating the next steps. So these are the final recommendation, or this is the status quo from the last partnership, just to get through the whole project again. We developed the questionnaire in the beginning of the project. Therefore, you have the report and the results, which I have shown you, or some of them I have shown you during this presentation. After this first overview and the survey, we worked with Juliane and you in Sylt to, based on the result, develop recommendation and actions. And so this is the status quo. And I have documented this briefly in today's presentation. So you have all the information on what we have done in the project, what are the results, and what are the first recommendation steps to make to continue with the branding and the positioning of the Wadden Sea World Heritage brand. Thank you very much for your attention. Now we have time, of course, for your questions, observations, and of course, I would be happy to hear your observation or your experience if you have the same impressions regarding the results, other impressions. What is your opinion on the results in general? Thank you very much.